Frankie here. Today I am joined by Invince, Basius, Jinjo, Becoming Eternal. We are here to talk about experience and knowledge on breaking. Vince, there's just too much to cover. We're going to get right into it here. I have a lot of questions for you about just your own unique personal journey as a person, as well as being a dancer in both the California area primarily and then coming to Korea. I'll preface with thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Frankie. Welcome to Korea.
What I do know about you, let's start there. What I do know about you is that you are American. You grew up primarily in the LA area. We can think about what that means for your development as a dancer. And more recently, you have moved to Korea. Can you help me kind of fill in the gaps there?
So I moved to the States when I was 13, and I actually started dancing when I was sophomore, junior year. My friends were just practicing. Well, at the time, though, I was not friends with them. The strangers were practicing in the hallway, and that just caught me off guard. And I was just like, yo, I have to approach them. Can you guys teach me? So I started breaking in 2010. I was lucky enough to pick up a lot of the moves from them. To get the message straight, they were not good. Right? They were just beginners also. They knew how to do six step. They knew how to do like top rocks and stuff. So that was enough for me to learn from them. After high school, they all gave up. And it was just by myself, practicing by myself, all the time. And then I met Becoming Eternal. JC, he was the one who formed the crew. This was maybe in 2016. So after that, joining BE, I was just battling, traveling.
And this was a group based in LA?
I'm from Pasadena area, like St. Gabriel. And JC is from Diamond Bar, maybe 40 minutes drive from my place. And maybe it's about an hour drive from his place to LA.
It's a big state.
2016, maybe 2017. It was just nonstop. 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, 4-on-4s, whatever the format was. We were just traveling. We were going to Vegas. We were going to NorCal. We were going to San Diego. We were also traveling to Portland just to get our names out. And after that, I forgot what it was, but I came to Korea for something. And I was lucky enough to have this one battle called Be On Top. It was 1-on-1. Zoot was judging. We already had a connection before that, but we were never friends. And I got second place at that jam. We were actually talking after that. He was like, come out to session. Yo, man, like, let's do it. And then I realized he was starting a crew, and he asked me to join Base Us. And then here we are, in Korea.
From where you guys were based in Orange County, in comparison to what you saw out there, Vegas and such, stylistically, what was BE? What was your approach like to the dance?
Everyone's dancing differently. Everyone's thinking differently. Everyone's different, period. But we have this one thing in common, and that was love for breaking. And that was enough for us to get together. And of course, I was just doing a little more power. I was doing a little more techniques, tricks. I was doing a little more of freezes.
That's a really interesting framework that you describe. It's always interesting to hear how groups bond and how they form and how they stay together. Love of breaking. The sky's the limit, right?
Growing up, we had no one. We had no mentors. We had no teachers. With that being said, we were very free. And I know this is a good and bad thing, obviously. It was almost natural for us to dance in certain ways just because that's the way we like to dance.
So at this point, we're going to give you a chance to react to some of your old footage. So the first battle we're going to watch is from 2014.
He was killing it, during his round. I was like, wow. But I know I can take this round. And at this time, I had no sets. I didn't even know how to make sets. Because like I said, I had no teachers, anyone. So I was just doing whatever that was coming up with.
What do you think looking back at this, man?
I sucked.
How were you training at this time?
There was no regiments. I was practicing maybe at least 5 hours. I think I would at least spend 1 or 2 hours in power moves.
Were you inspired by anyone? Did you watch any footage?
Korean crews. A Battle of the Year was really big at that time. Or at least growing up. No specific names. I was just inspired. Wow, like this guy's really good at power. Wow, this guy's really good at freezes. So I was just working on those two things. But style-wise, I was thrown off by Knuckleheads Cali, actually. I was like, what are these guys doing? They're super fresh. At the time, I didn't know what the originality was. But I was just like, if I look at 10 B-boys, 9 of them almost break the certain way. But this one guy from Knuckleheads Cali, they're breaking very differently. I'm not saying I'm gonna do what they were doing, but I was inspired to be different.
We're going to jump forward in time now, a few years. Now we're looking at Claim to Fame 2017.
So I was just kind of coming up with I was trying to go with the music. And I was like, hey, are you talking about tap mills? Yo, I can do it both ways. And I was just kind of making fun of him. And that was always the character that I always had. Be a little more aggressive, but at the same time, be funny. So this was my signature at that time. I have like 20 people behind me. And I was fired up. I feel like I don't battle like that anymore. I was confident. Style-wise, though, I still had no direction, if that makes sense.
Are you having this dialogue at that time, or is this you just reflecting on?
Oh yeah, me just reflecting right now.
Let's talk a little bit about the actual technical side. We're talking about the mills on both sides. How did you have this awareness for training both sides? Anyone who's been breaking for 5-10 years knows they could go back in time. You can't get enough of that kind of training.
YouTube was my only teacher. At the time, though, I was like, hey, not a lot of the B-boys out there can do both sides power. Even though it's just windmill, I was like, hey, I feel like I can do this. At least around me, they didn't have that. I was very inspired to do certain things that people weren't doing. Maybe that could actually be my strength.
The more you can develop those skills of learning your both side power, both sides freezes early, that much more help it's going to be in the future. Even if you don't like to do the transition from one side to the other necessarily, it opens up an entire move list of different moves you can do.
Yes, you're going to get a lot of new movements, new transitions, endless.
We're jumping ahead to 2019, so a couple of years later.
I actually did enter with a different name. It's a little special for me. So this whole battle, I knew my opponent didn't really have that much power. So I think my third round, I come in with a bit of power combo just because I know I can do it even in my third round. And I knew he didn't have anything to respond to that. So I was just kind of freestyling, but at the same time, I was just doing whatever that was left in the tank. Man, it was good times. I was very fired up. It was one-on-one. I wanted it more. I would always just come up with all the possible power combos that I can do at this time, and then I would put into combos. And that creates a lot of the sets that I need. Shoulder halo swipe, shoulder halo swipe. For others, maybe it's easy. At least at this time, I just hadn't seen it.
We're tying a couple different concepts that we're talking about into this particular battle. Having the freedom to develop your movement the way you want to, and then at the same time, getting to see the both side transitions. And we're really getting to see that start to mature here. You come off your windmill from the right side into the left side baby, stuff like that, right?
Yes.
And then we saw the freeze transition from stab to air baby back to chair, right?
It didn't have to be super dope. It didn't have to be super hard at this time. As long as it was different and as long as people weren't doing it, I was okay with it. That mindset really developed in this time because I was confident. I was actually getting moves, and stylistically, I realized my weaknesses were footwork. I think it's also because I didn't spend enough time. I feel bad. So I always rather do back rocks. That was a mindset where, okay, I'm really bad at footwork, but there's no way I cannot do it. So let me actually hide that and do back rocks instead. So it looks like I'm actually covering that part in battles. I was just really comfortable being in my back. I always had this mindset where battling is a conversation. I think that's also the reason why I never really had a set. I would see this guy's doing this kind of moves or movements. Oh, I have something either better or I have something similar, and I would just do it. Look, I did what you just did, but better. I did have an idea, but that can switch in 1 second. As soon as the guy does this kind of move, oh, like this guy did chair flip. I had no intentions of doing chair flip, but now I have to do it. The reason why I actually entered as matcha flavor was because I was training really hard, but stylistically, I wanted to go a certain way, but I didn't know where to go. What I did was actually just pick up a new name, enter a battle, have a different vibe, have a different feeling, be a little more free, almost a new character that I trying to build so that hopefully I can find a way.
The general lesson from what you're saying, you're just trying to take a step in one direction and see if that fits you, right? You're talking about this kind of clarity challenge that you're having with, well, who am I? What kind of style do I want? Let's just go in this direction and see what happens. Is that about right?
Oh, like this was something that I didn't like or something that I wasn't expecting. So let me actually step back and go this direction instead. So I was doing that a lot.
All right, another 2019 clip. BC1.
This was my very first time making it through Red Bull. I think this was my maybe third try, and I finally made it. But this was really bad, but I was freestyling it. This is a combo I always do, but it just came out. I was like, the music was there, so I was like, let me just freestyle. Go with the music. And you can kind of see it's offbeat because I was freestyling a little too much. And then this moment, I realized, damn, maybe I needed a set. Because I was like, wow, I don't know what to do right now. So I was trying to buy some time by doing some burns. You know, this was in LA Cypher, so I was like, hey, like, I represent. This is my city. I was trying to kind of do that. I was like lost. Good times. So 8 were invited, and 8 was from the prelims. and I was one of them. So I remember seeing my name there. I was like, damn, like I feel like I kind of made it, you know? I feel like I'm proving my point here now. At this time, I was already satisfied just being in that stage. That was a good learning experience. So ever since then, I was like, okay, I need to value myself a little higher now. I need to aim for higher. Let me actually get back to the lab and let me actually come up with a very specific ways of training.
That's a lesson in and of itself. You're talking about, you're just trying to have a good prelim to start, one step at a time. You come to a BC1 Cypher, you know people there are serious. Have a good prelim, try to make it past. If you accomplish your goal that day, cool. You know, you can have a little time like you're describing to just enjoy that moment. You go into the top 16 and you're just trying to take it all in.
Yeah, and like I said, this was my third try for Red Bull. I was just happy to make it out there. I failed. Bam, I see my name up there now. In LA too, you know? So I was like, okay, this is very meaningful.
Shout out to Buckshot. This is a good exchange between you two.
Oh yeah, he killed it. Ever since then, actually, we became friends too. And he was from different area too. That was something I wanted to do. I didn't want to battle the same guys, you know, in LA. So this is the opposite. I was actually the one who got invited. And I think Weapon X went through the prelims. I was just doing burns. I think I was better. Obviously, there are things that I need to work on now that I see it. There were just so many things that I could have done to seal the deal. In that sense, it was my fault to not make it obvious enough. But at the time, though, I thought it was obvious enough. I actually didn't plan to run set. It was just a bit of combo here, combo there. But in between those, I was just freestyling. I was just going with the music. And Weapon X, I thought he pulled out a good respawn. He was doing a lot more footwork, which I wasn't doing. And it's not like I did too crazy of a power. So I can kind of see it, you know. But at this time, though, you know, I was very confident. I was like, yo, I got this.
Oh, did I do enough? In the moment, it felt like enough. And definitely feel like it's a fine line. You can have rounds where you feel like you're dragging on and people can kind of catch on. It kind of kills your flow too. Even if you start really strong, like you blow it up at the beginning.
No matter what battles I look for, there's no real answers to that. Especially at that time though, I was very confused on where to end. Was this enough? Or was this too little? You can kind of see it, but I almost did no power. Almost on purpose which I should have done it to make it a little more obvious and to show more variety. But at this time though, I was like, okay, if I don't do power, I know I can kill this whole music, so let me just go with it. Let me actually go with the music. No matter what, the music comes first.
And you can only do so much in the moment. I think that's part of the beauty of this game. There's always room to improve. There's always things you're gonna look back on and be like, damn, I could have done this better. Moving on here to 2021.
This was when I joined Bezos and came back to the States. during Corona, I was just training by myself. I was really digging into freezes, different transitions, different shapes, different levels, flexibility. I was trying to use all of those. And that's where I just kind of formed my style where, okay, that's actually my strength. And I can kind of do this almost anywhere, almost anytime. So why not just actually go with it? Let me actually go further. This whole jam, I Need a Break 2021, I was exploring with my freezes, with my freeze transitions, signatures, power to freeze or freeze to power. And that's where I realized, okay, like, I think I know where I'm going with this.
We can see that. Previous clips, you were more at this mid-level or staying on the ground. But here you're really starting to fill in those gaps. You're taking it to the mid-level, those mid-level freezes, taking it all the way up, doing some stuff on the ground, like the more of the leg work too.
Not only I actually worked on freezes, I worked on footwork transitions, not just footwork steps, but I was practicing from footwork to freezes transitions. I was just trying my best to have it very smooth instead of a bit awkward.
Let's talk a little bit about basis. From my impression of watching you guys, I'm such a fan. You guys have a collective style. Can you talk a little bit about what basis means and what you guys feel like stylistically, what you represent?
The name Base Us was supposed to be based on us. As corny as it sounds, everything starts with us. We are the ones who's setting up the trend. In my honest opinion, Zoot is a trendsetter. Zoot was ahead of his time. Everything he was doing became a trend. I think he really wanted to push that. Not only we're just battling, we're actually setting a trend. We are the next guys, you know? And when it comes to a crew style, we have a very similar base. And maybe that's why also it's Base Us. But as a bigger picture, we have a very similar mindset. We want to have something new to the table. Yes, nothing new under the sun. Yes, I get it. We're at least trying to be more entertaining. We're at least trying to be a little different.
As a collective mindset, it's really interesting that you describe that because it resonates well with your story that you didn't really come up with any particular style.
I think I'm lucky that I found my style, but I still feel like there's always room to grow. I feel like I can pick those things up from Base Us.
I'm very much looking forward, and like I said, I'm such a fan already following your guys' battle, to be able to see where that direction takes you, that mindset. You're leading from the front, right?
Thank you. We're trying to do that.
All right, so the last battle we're going to watch is actually the crew battle from this last year. You guys took this event. This was an amazing event to watch.
I was trying to be a little more goofy, not try to take things too seriously. I'm opening up a crew battle, so my job was a bit different, you know. Obviously try my best, but have a really solid start for the crew.
That was an amazing round, bro.
Thank you.
I tend to move a bit slow, but the music was there, so I was like, okay, this is perfect. Do my freezes on beat or with the music or with the rhythm. I thought I was able to open up a round in a crew battle, a very solid round. When you go out first, kill it out there no matter what. But at the same time, there are momentums in the crew battle. And I think having a solid start really helps.
Are there any lessons learned that you want to share from starting to battle in Korea?
I was traveling before Korea, Portland, Las Vegas, NorCal, Toronto. Those trips really helped me not to be afraid, to put myself out there. I knew what to do. I knew my strengths. It's actually even better if you're new to the scene, and that's because you're the freshest guy out there.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, everyone's gonna look at you.
This has definitely become a theme about making sure you get as much of the experience as you can of being out there.
I was lucky enough to realize this. I'm tired of battling the same guys. There's no hate to them. Not only there's no fun to it, there's almost no lessons.
There's no growth.
There's no growth. And also, if you're new to the scene, if you travel out, you're not only spending time, you're actually putting your own money to get out there, right? So you are more driven, you're more fired up. Me coming to Korea, it's a huge change, but I didn't have to spend time to get used to what's it like. I was just good to go.
We just have a couple more questions for you, Vince. First one is a little bit more on the technical side. We've seen the progression of your movement from being really strong on the ground, even from that 2014 clip. The mills, mixing in with the halos and such, and the freezes. Can you talk a little bit about your Airflare journey?
Oh man, one of the biggest accomplishments, in breaking, I actually picked up Airflares a bit of older age compared to the kids nowadays. Damn, they're crazy, but I always somewhat had one Airflare. The form wasn't there. There was no real method, and I lost the feeling of it, and that's kind of obvious because you actually never had that. I think it was 2021 when I joined Bezos. My guys made a promise that, I'm gonna get Airflares. Currently now we have 9 members. 3 of them already had Airflares. I'm inspired to be the 4th guy. So I went back to the LA or SGV and I just drilled Airflares. I watched all the tutorials out there. I watched all the Airflare heads. I asked Zhu. But at the time though, you didn't have enough of knowledge to realize that those things are helping. So what I was doing was drilling in my own way. I was learning Airflares by myself. I was lucky to get 3 or 4 Airflares by myself. And I came to Korea 2021. I think it was in December. That's when I got 10 Airflares. That was, different. Learning Airflares was different.
Than anything else.
Than anything else. The more you practice, obviously, the more you understand about the move. But for some reason, Airflares, something just didn't click. It's like you know how it looks like, you know what you have to do. And then in December, something clicked. And after that, it was just practice after practice after practice.
I'm trying to pick out the takeaways for our viewers. I think part of it, like you're describing, that journey of you getting the 3 to 4, you just gotta grind it. You just gotta huck it and huck it and huck it, right?
If you have peers that can do Airflares, yes, ask them. But also, before asking them, at least try to work on your own and get a feel of it. Get at least like half of a rotation and then go up to them.
Just asking an empty question.
Yes, you're not going to understand it. Even if you do understand it, your body won't understand it. So you have to drill the move first, realize something is not working, and that's when you actually go up and ask them. That's at least the way I did it.
And that's an interesting point you made at the beginning about picking up Airflares a little bit older. It is harder.
2021, and I think I was 27, 28. When I was really drilling freezes, that's when I really understood my body. Not only me just doing handstand, but I'm getting a feel of my legs are here. I can move them freely. I can put this lower and I can still hold it. So the core strength or me being able to hold my body up very easily helped me get Airflares. Like I said, something didn't click, meaning that I wasn't ready for that move.
So the last question I have for you before we adjourn, you're in basis. You're also in Jinjo.
Yes.
You didn't talk so much about that. Can you talk a little bit about your membership with Jinjo and also what can we expect from Invince in the future? What do we have to look forward to, bro?
This is very new. This happened only a few months back. I'm officially on Jinjo crew. Not only they are very successful in the breaking scene, but they are actually very successful in their own field. So just me being able to witness that right next to them in the first hand, that's already inspiring. The Hyungs, that's what we use the word in Korea, meaning that they're a very older brother. They are very open-minded to teach us or to listen to our story. I'm looking forward to see it. I haven't had a battle with them yet, but more in the future. They are expecting certain things from us in a good way, obviously. I'm willing to just push myself even more now to carry the name, the tradition.
That's really exciting. I mean, Jinjo is such a world-class name.
Yes. And me as a b-boy, more in the future, I'm going to continue to push myself, not only just in battles though. I want to inspire the world, man. More dubs in the future. Stylistically, I want to inspire not only just the next generation, but people just around me.
Of course, I'll be following you guys. I wish you all the best in the future, Vince, with Jinjo, with Basis, with your goals of trying to inspire this generation and the future one. Did you have any other last thoughts for our viewers here before we take off?
I'm actually a subscriber to your YouTube channel. It's actually very inspiring. Thank you for obviously having the crazy content. I hope some people actually take their time and actually listen to this. Not just my story, but just out there. You can actually learn a lot from just listening to someone's interview. I know breaking isn't the entire world, but you can just pick up a lot of things, man. Not only just about breaking, but for your life.
That's the part that's so amazing about breaking, bro. Is that, we were brought together through this dance. I would have never met you otherwise. But like you're saying, you learn about the other stories of people. You're going to pick up some other lessons along the way. I appreciate the promotional plug.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Vince. So we're out of here. Peace.